Not interesting the first day here, but come Wednesday, it'll get a little bit more interesting. All right, so first, and the quiz will be sometime end of next week, the third and final quiz for this unit. Here's what I want to start graphing with you today. We're always going to graph on the polar grid. We're never going to graph on the rectangular anymore, all right? Always on the polar grid. So if you remember how to graph points, you'll be fine. Perfectly fine, because your calculator is going to do all the work if you remember how to graph points. And you guys at home, be ready, because I am just going to start calling on numbers here in a second. So the first graph I'm going to ask you guys to help me out with is R equals 5. What does that graph look like on the polar grid? R equals 5. Well, let's talk real quick. If I'm at any angle measurement on this polar grid, so let's say I'm at 0, and the R value is 5. Remember what the R is, how far away from the center you go. So everyone go to 0 degrees right now and put a point 5 units away from the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where that point is. Any degree, any radian measure we go to now, any angle measure we go to, you'll be 5 away. So let's go to pi over 12. I'll be 5 units away still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With just a single number there, all that's telling you is every point will be 5 units away from the center. So what am I going to end up forming here? As I just start graphing at any angle measure 5 units away from the center, what are you going to end up with? A graph that looks like a what? Circle, yeah. All that means is R equals just a number. No matter what angle measurement I go to on my graph, the point's always 5 units away. And you don't need to go ahead and graph all of them in, but just show me you know what the heck is going on by graphing in a couple. And then, yep, here you go. Make sure you actually show me the circle, just not the points. Because you are doing graphs now. And there it is. So R equals any number will just be a circle that many units away from the center. And then once you have your circle down, here you go. I'm going to allow you to check your graph every time on Desmos, even on the quiz next week. So everyone go to your Desmos tab, lowercase r, it's important it's lowercase, not uppercase. Lowercase r equals 5. There it is. All right, there it is. Okay. Questions, comments, any concerns? All right. Anybody at home? What happens if your R value is negative now? Ready? Let's talk here. Ella's picking it up here. Let's say I start at 0. Remember, a negative R value told me to do what? Go on opposite, right? Remember that? Negative R, it says go opposite. All right. So if I'm at 0, go opposite towards pi, 1, 2, 3 units away. So there's my first point right there. You're just going on the other side. What the heck's still going to happen, though? Circle. Yeah, another circle, right? Even if you go on the opposite side every single time, you're going to get points that end up all being 3 units away from the center. So even if it's positive, if your number's negative, does not matter. It's always going to be a circle. And just to be on the safe side, you never know. -3, there it is. A circle going through 3. All right. Anything at all, those are pretty basic. You're always going to get a circle if you just have R equals a number. Now we got to change it up. You guys at home, all right? All right, let's change it up now. Let me throw a sine or a cosine in there at you now. So now I want you to graph 4, R equals 4 cosine theta. So it's just not a big circle 4 units around, because now I'm throwing cosine in. All right, I'm going to try, really, I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible. I will give you a table to fill out to tell you what to plot. All right, you will fill out a table so you know what points to plot. Everyone be on the, because I'm going to call on everyone for an answer every time. First thing, your calculator. Notice what all the angles are in. What are your angles in? Radians. So let's make sure our calculator's in radians first. Make sure your calculator's in radian mode because that's all the angles I'm giving you. All right, you plug in the angle to find the R value. So the first one, 4 cosine theta, theta is 0. So plug in 0 for theta, ready? 4 cosine 0. You should be getting 4 out. So R equals 4. So your point will be 4, 0. And again, I hope you know how to graph these. We graph these at the very beginning of the unit. That's the only thing I get nervous about here because your calculator is going to do all the work for you. So at 0, you go out to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I graph them as I find them. Some of you may do the whole table, then graph it. It's up to you. I graph them when I find them. All right, I'll do one more with you, then I'm going to start calling on people. Pi over 6. So I go to my calculator, 4 cosine pi over 6, if it's in radians. All right, I get a decimal, just go nearest tenth for me. All right, so we'll say 3.5. Okay, so R equals 3.5. So 3.5 comma pi over 6. So everyone go to pi over 6 and graph 3.5 as best you can. 1, 2, 3.5. Best you can. And you don't have to do it now, but you can if you want. We connect these in the order we find them. All right, I connect them at the end, but that's just me. All right, here you go. Pi over 3. I'm going to start calling on people here, but I'll give you a second to let me know what it is. Pi over 3 when I plug it in. All right, here we go. Hopefully everyone's doing all right at home. What's our R value? 13. Here we go. Eliana, what's my R value at pi over 3?
R equals 2.
2, good. So I have 2 pi over 3. Everyone go graph 2 pi over 3. Next up, pi over 2. Pi over 2. We'll have to talk about this one when somebody finds the R value. And what do I do? Pi over 2, what do you get for your R value? I just heard from Eliana. Let's hear from somebody else. There we go. Isaiah?
You get 0.
Yeah, 0. What's the deal there, huh? 0 pi over 2. Guess where this point's going to be? 0 for your R. Where's it going to be? Right in the middle. Right in the center. Yep. I don't go anywhere around. So there you go. There's the center. Go ahead, you guys at home. Keep going. 2 pi. I'm at 2 pi over 3 now for an R value. 2 pi over 3. Two pi over 3. What are we getting there? 6. Mason, what do you got for 2 pi over 3?
It's -2.
Good, yep.
2 pi over 3.
Good job. -2, 2 pi over 3. All right, everyone stay with me here. So I go to 2 pi over 3, but where do I actually graph it? Opposite, right? Because it's negative. Remember that. Your R value is negative. We go opposite. So really, I'm not going to go to 2 pi over 3. What's directly opposite? What is it? 5 pi over 3. I'll go 2 units towards 5 pi over 3 instead. Perfect. All right, let's keep going. Looks like we're almost halfway there. 5 pi over 6. 5 pi over 6. Who's up? Isaiah, back to you. R value, 5 pi over 6.
Negative 5.
What?
Negative 3.5.
There you go, negative 3.5. All right, this will start happening now. Be prepared, this will start happening. So I go to 5 pi over 6, but I got to go opposite negative because it's negative 3.5, and one hasn't happened. What do you guys notice? Nothing yet, right? Never mind, might be the next point. So 5 pi over 6, where do I end up graphing then? 11 pi over 6? 1, 2, 3.5. All right, never mind. I blow my cover there for the next one. All right, I'm at pi now. I'm at pi. What do you end up with at pi? Kian, what do you end up at pi? What's your R value?
Negative 4.
Yep,
Sure. Yeah.
you got it. Thank you. Negative 4 pi. Now, hey, everyone here, what's the issue? Anybody see it? What happens when you go to graph negative 4 comma pi?
There's already a point there.
Yeah, I go on the opposite side of pi, which is 0, and I've already plotted that point. So now I'm starting to get some repeaters. All right, so I'm starting to get some repeaters, so that's going to stay right where it is. All right, let's move on. 7 pi over 6. 7 pi over 6. Good job, everybody, so far, staying with me. You're done for the day there, boss. Let's hear some new people here. What do you say? There we go. Liz, what do you got at 7 pi over 6, Liz? Okay, thought I had her on earlier. All right, we'll keep grinding. Nick, what do you got there, boss?
Negative 3.5.
Yep. So I got negative 3.5, 7 pi over 6. And guys, take a look. 7 pi over 6, go opposite. We've already graphed it again. Okay, we've already graphed it. I'm just going to finish it here now. On 3 pi over 2, we end up with 0. Again, already graphed it. And then 5 pi over 3 should be, what, positive 2? And when I go to graph, there's already a point there. So take a look at what we just end up graphing. This is another circle. A little bit different than our first two, but it's a circle. Now let me go. This will be easier to do on Desmos than for me to show just telling you it. So everyone go to Desmos right now. Type in your R equals 4 cosine theta, everybody. R equals 4 cosine. Remember, you got to type in the word theta, Theta, and you get your circle, right? Okay, well, let's play around a little bit and see if anybody sees a pattern. Put a negative in front of your 4 right now. Put a negative in front of your 4. What happens? What happened?
It moves to the other side.
Yeah, but it's still on what axis? What axis is the circle on?
Yeah.
The x-axis. Anytime it's cosine, it'll always be on the x. If it's positive, it'll be on the right side. If it's negative, it'll be on the left side. And it'll go out to whatever the number is out in front, like 4. Well, how do I get it on the y-axis then? Any thoughts, ideas at home in class? How do I make the circle go on the, how do you think I change this to make it go on the y-axis now? What could I change in the equation, do you think? Because changing the number is just going to make it bigger or smaller.
Cosine into sine.
I know, Isaiah says, let's try sine. Oh, look at that, huh? Yeah. So anything with sine will be on the y-axis. Positive will be on top. Negative on the bottom. All right, so that you can already tell what your graph's going to look like just from the equation. If it's cosine, it'll be on the x-axis. If it's sine, it'll be somewhere on the y-axis. All right, kids? Any questions, comments, or concerns today? And that's all you have tomorrow is a couple graphs like those. Then we get really crazy later on in the week. All right, guys, have a good day. Behave, be smart. I'll see you guys tomorrow for your assignment.